burn piles have been here for so long. It's really crazy to see all of this without like the multiple piles. But I still have some cleaning up to do. So my shovel that I burned yesterday worked perfectly. So I can put a new handle in this should I choose. I think it's just gonna go immediately in the scrap pile though for now. Just because I don't know that I need it right now. And then also there was this piece of wire that had a whole bunch of wooden stakes in it. Burned the wooden stakes out of it, so now this can go in the scrap metal pile. So I need to do that. And then if you see over there, there's a bunch of 2x4s and stuff. They got stacked up over there instead of in my wood burning pile and then buried with creosote bushes, and they need to get put over with my wood burning pile. And then there's all sorts of leaves and stuff from that need to get put in the compost pile. I need to clean up the old burn pile that had a bunch of like dried stuff in it. So basically everything that's left in that little middle pile can go in the compost. And then this is obviously still cooling off. The other thing I have to do before I move either of those piles is get the magnet sweeper over them to get any nails or whatever that was in the wood out before it goes into a compost pile. There's some aluminum in this one I'll just have to hand pick out and look for. And if you don't know what's going on, go watch my last video. This is where my last video ended, was me burning all this stuff. So let's get to work. Salamander. He's awfully cute. There are a ton of these white grubs in here. I don't know what they are. Good morning, everybody. This is probably the last day I am going to be able to wear shorts for the year. It is such a beautiful morning, but we got a bunch of bad weather coming, and I'm gonna guess that means it's the end of 80-degree fall weather and the beginning of like 60-degree winter weather. I think the plan today is, now that I have all of the burn piles taken care of, I think I am going to start a new one. I have quite a few little baby creosote bushes that are popping up. They need dealt with because there is just too many of them. Creosote bushes are like weeds. They will just show up wherever, whether they're wanted or not. On the other side of the house, by my driveway, there is a line of old creosote bushes from when they like demolished everything to put the house in or for the driveway or something. And I have burned half of it. The half that I burned was kind of over where I had the open empty space for the driveway, so I just burned it right there in the middle of the empty driveway. The rest of it is not in the middle of nowhere enough that I feel confident burning it, so I'm just gonna throw it all in a wheelbarrow and bring it back here where it's in the empty, open, nothing. And I'm not gonna accidentally set the desert on fire. Those are the two things for sure that need to go in this burn pile, because pretty much everything else I burn in my wood stove. Branches off my willow tree and my pepper tree and all that kind of stuff, they just go in my wood stove. Even the small stuff I use as kindling. Really, my burn pile is just creosote bushes, and that's going to be pretty minimal because I am really close to having the whole property finally cleaned up. The pot farm literally just threw stuff over the fence that used to be here, and dry creosote bushes, as you probably saw in my last video, like freaking explode. They're so flammable. The green ones are fine. They actually take quite a while to catch on fire. But you do not want a bunch of old, dead creosote wood laying around your property. So I have been slowly but surely gathering all of that up and getting rid of it and burning it. You can't burn it inside a wood stove because of the creosote. In the creosote bush, I'm a little bit surprised that burning seems to be so controversial on the internet. Every time I have a burn video, there's several comments of people being upset about it, and it's really funny because it's like super normal for me. I mean, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, and that's just how you get rid of things that you don't want, is you burn them. Obviously, talking about wood and stuff, I don't burn trash. But yeah, anyways, get off my butt and get going for the day. Speaking of weeds, desert willows. I don't know how this entire desert isn't a desert willow forest. They sprout up like crazy out here. I have dozens and dozens of them coming up from seed from my willow trees. These are not going to go in the burn pile. These are going to go sit out back there somewhere to dry out so I can burn them in my wood stove. But they were right up against my fence, and so I didn't want them growing into the fence. Also, you'll notice I left a couple of creosote bushes. I don't need no creosote bushes. I'm in the desert for a reason, and they also block the view of my neighbor over there, but I don't need as many as there were. So they're thinned out now, and I'm happy with those, and of course I'll probably have to come back and thin them out several times before everybody just situates themselves, because this whole area used to have a fence line in it and a bunch of fencing, and it just got disturbed, and that's where all the seedlings got churned into the soil and raked into the soil and sprouted and stuff. So once you're done touching an area, it takes a little bit of time for it to like settle, and then once it's undisturbed, then you don't have creosote bushes popping up every 2 seconds like you do right now. So yeah, I'm gonna go drag these to my burn pile, and then I've got pretty much a full cart of creosote bushes and a few more to put in it, and then I think we're done with that part of the project, and we'll move on to the next one. I don't know if it's gonna happen in this video. In fact, it's probably not, because I'm really procrastinating it, but that compost bin really needs relocated. It's not doing anything there, and I'm also kind of worried about how many things are living in it, because it's just a nice protected box. So I think I might wait until like winter when snakes and stuff would be like at least slow, if not completely hibernating, because yeah, there's got to be stuff living in that box right now. Oh, and the other, so If you guys noticed, I was just taking the hacksaw, and it goes really fast because the blade just goes through sand. I'm sure it's dulling the blade, but who cares? And just chopping off the creosote bushes underground. I've had really good luck with that. They usually don't come back in my experience. So yeah, you don't have to dig them up or anything. Even the big ones, I mean, unless the stump is in the way, but if you get it below ground and then just rebury it back, like, you'll never know it's there. And that leaves the roots to kind of help stabilize the soil until they decompose. If they decompose, it's hard for things to decompose in the desert because there's not enough moisture in the soil. Okay, so I am going to take my little red wagon around and gather up whatever creosote bushes elsewhere on the property, and then go dump them in the burn pile, and then meet you over by the driveway to talk about the next project. So that's it for the day. I'm gonna leave everything in the basket so that it doesn't all blow away with the wind that's clearly here. And yeah, we'll pick this up when the weather's better. Done. We're in the middle of a break right now, so I'm throwing the ball for the dog. And it looks like that one didn't get a ton of rain. The wash kind of just diverted around it. But that one got some. And this one got a lot. I'm surprised that one didn't overflow. And then we didn't get as much rain this time as we did last time, so this one also didn't overflow, although some of it did go around. But yeah, Mesquite Tree is very happy, and apparently everything goes right around the acacia. Yeah, that's how the berm's held up. And I just got a rain notification. It's coming. Let's hurry up and play while it's gone. Yeah, so that's the case in point about berms made out of sand. They just get overwhelmed and then it all runs away. I don't know where I'm gonna steal some dirt from to fix it, but I gotta. Otherwise I can't really water this, so I'll figure something out. Okay, I stole some dirt from right in front of here, so I don't think there's really any chance of me being able to redirect this water. I might just put a tree up here somewhere to collect some of that water. But there is water coming that direction, and hopefully I enticed it to come that way. Otherwise, this is all fixed and holding water again for now. And those are the only two trees I'm watering because the lemon tree, as you guys saw, got just a ton of water from the whole ordeal, and it is pretty cold. With it being my first time having trees, let alone freshly planted trees that are struggling a little bit, I'm not 100% sure how much I should be watering, especially now that the weather is cold. Both the loquat and the citrus, I think, are not dormant because they don't go dormant, but they're not growing. It's too cold for them to be actively growing, according to the internet. So definitely are supposed to generally cut down on the water at that point, but on the flip side, I don't want to underwater them and kill them, but I assume it's really hard to overwater them when they're in the ground like this because the water just seeps away. There's a lot of advice out on the internet about stuff, but it just never seems to feel like it exactly hits like my specific situation. So we'll see. Fingers crossed for me. The joys of doing something new for the first time. Well, there's a little break in the clouds this morning, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to redig out my trench over here because it has rerouted itself and is eating away at the side of the homestead. So that's not good. And the poor little cactus roots exposed. Yeah, so you can kind of see the remains of the old trench. It just went right around here. And I'm going to make like a permanent one, probably with like rocks and mortar and stuff. And I think that aloe needs to move. But I also need to kind of trim up this tree a little bit more. And so when the tree's trimmed up a little bit more, maybe I will feel okay about making the trench come way out here and like forcing a sidewalk way out there. But right now, that would put like a path right underneath that branch, which is annoying. All the dirt is able to be moved in the future. That's not a big deal. What is important right now is that I kind of redirect all of this nonsense because this is getting kind of bad. Just need to get the water away from the house for now. Man, I have no idea what this is, but I'm so glad that that's the last time I'm ever going to trip over it. What the hell? Well, that's the first time I've ever had termites in the house. I guess eventually I need to keep this earmarked to just pull this whole thing out at some point and check for damage, and replace anything before I completely finish this room and all that jazz. But I think for right now, I'll kind of just take the lazy approach and spray a bunch of shit in the wall and call it good for now. All right, well, so based on the research I've seen, I have subterranean termites, which means I bought these little stakes. This auger sucks. I don't know if I can even get them in the ground at this point. When I bought the house, I was actually like, hey, how common are termites? Because you hear about termites all the time, like on TV shows and stuff. And my real estate agent said, it's not wet enough here to have termites. They need wet wood. This is doing literally nothing. Long story short, I didn't know I needed to treat termites until now. And so I went and picked up those spikes. Those are for subterranean termites. I also picked up the spray, which I'm going to put in the walls, but we're gonna get the outside ones done first. But I can't get this stake to work, this auger to work. So I think I'm gonna cut this off with the angle grinder and put it in my drill. One down, 15 more to go. All right, there we go. I'll walk you around the house and show you. They said 2 to 3 feet out from the house and no more than 10 feet apart. So I walked around with the tape measure set to 10 feet. Corners are a little tricky. I'm not entirely sure if you're measuring like the actual distance or if you're measuring out 2 feet and then that, but I'm sure this is fine. I'm pretty sure it's probably from thing to thing, cutting the corner, but either way, the patio makes it a little bit difficult because obviously I can't put stakes right up against the patio. However, I have sprayed the house right up against the edges, so I don't think anybody's getting in or out through there, and so I just put them as close to the house as possible at the edge of the patio slab. Also, it will be a lot easier for them to not accidentally get stepped on when they're right up against the patio slab instead of a foot out. And so that's what I did there. Again, no more than 10 feet apart. And then we're back to doing everything correctly. 10 feet apart, 2 feet from the structure. I basically ignored this little bump out. So because it's so small, that to that is 10 feet basically. So if I had one more stake, I would have put it out here, but I don't. So fingers crossed that's okay. I'm sure it is. But that concludes the perimeter. Again, just putting it as close to the front slab as possible. Yeah, that's about it. I think I'm gonna wait until the morning to spray my foam because it is freaking cold and dinner time and I'm hungry, and I would like the ability to choose to not be in here with the foam instead of stuck in here cooking dinner with pesticides. So yeah, we'll be done for the day. So my old comforter, if you remember, was white and it actually disintegrated on me. I had it for so long that the integrity of the fabric fell apart and was leaving fuzz in the washing machine and then just like turned into a bunch of holes. It was like Swiss cheese basically. So I ripped it up into strips about yay big, and they're gonna be fire starter. Just take a strip, ball it up, put it in the fire, voila. All that I am actually throwing away are these little snaps that I cut off from it. That's a great way to use something that's at the end of the life. Normally I would, scrap fabric or whatever, but because the fabric itself is deteriorating and can't be used for anything because it would just continue to deteriorate, then this is a great way to keep it out of the landfill. You could also put cotton in the compost, but I think the ash from this will go in the compost as well. So it's going in the compost one way or another, whether it is going to go just directly as is or as ash.